Hello guys, this is Paul McWhorter with TopTechBoy.com, and we're here today with episode number 20 in our incredible new tutorial series where you're knowing where you're going with your ultimate GPS tracker project. What I will need you to do is pour yourself a nice tall glass of ice cold coffee. That would be straight up black coffee poured over ice, no sugar, no sweeteners, none needed. And as you're pouring your coffee, let's take a couple of minutes to talk about what I'm going to show you today. Now, where did we end up with last week? Let me get out of your way here. And let's come over here to TopTechBoy.com. And this is where we ended up with last week with this portable GPS data tracker using the Raspberry Pi Pico W. And this was the version of the program that we could save as main.py. We could save it as main.py. And then in last week's lesson, I showed you a method of how you could plug in and terminate the program with a button so that you could then go in and do the transfer of the log file from the Pico W to your desktop PC. And so we kind of played around with that. You guys should probably start with the same software I am today. So you can come to search on this title using the happy little search icon, search on this, and then you can come down here and you can grab this code that we ended up with last week. And this was the one that had the kill switch, the kill button that kind of allows us to log data under main.py and then still be able to connect and transfer it over. And so that is the software that I have running on my my GPS project right now. And so what we did last week is we just kind of sat here and pressed the button, logged 5 or 10 data points, then pressed it again, and then showed that we could transfer that log file over to the PC. Okay, so that worked. But now moving forward, what I want to do is I want to show you how you can take that log file and you can modify it so that you can show the log file on Google Earth. So you can call up Google Earth and you can see the little breadcrumbs on Google Earth of your most excellent journey. Okay, so what I need you to do and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out now and generate a real data set for us to use as we move forward. Okay, so what does that mean? That means I am going on a road trip and I will be taking you with me. So you can ride along with me, get a little bit better idea of the area I live in and what things look like here in my life. You can kind of ride along and see that on the road trip. Then we'll come back here. So this will be one video. I'm going to go get in the truck. You're going to ride along as we go on this road trip. Then we're going to come back, and the first thing that we're going to look at is we're just going to open up that log file and see if we have 200 or 300 points on it, waypoints on our log file. And then I'm going to show you your first look at a KML file. A KML file is what will show on Google Earth, and I'll kind of show it to you. And then what your homework assignment is going to be, that program that we have that transfers the log file from the Raspberry Pi Pico W over to the desktop PC. What you're going to do is your homework assignment is going to be to modify that so that when you transfer it over, it just doesn't come out as a lat comma lon file. It comes out as a KML file that you can then click on and it will open up in Google Earth. Sound good? Okay, I hope it does. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to snap my fingers, and when I snap my fingers, I will magically appear down in the truck, and then we will go where? On a road trip. Okay, we are ready to go on a road trip, and we're going to take you guys along with us. You'll get a little better picture of the area that we live in, and if you find this kind of thing boring, you can just skip this video. But we're going to see if we can boot this thing up. We are in our Toyota Hilux here, getting ready for the road trip. It's asking if we want to cancel. No, we don't want to cancel. Now, hopefully we'll get a fix here pretty soon. I haven't turned this thing on in a while, so it might take a second to get a fix, but we'll be patient. And we have got a fix, and it looks like we got 5 satellites. Hopefully we'll pick up more satellites kind of quickly. Like I say, I haven't run this thing in a while, so it's having to kind of rebuild its catalog there, and so it might take a second to find the other satellite. So as we start this trip, our accuracy might not be as good until we get a few more satellites. But let's see if we can go ahead and go. And so I am going to hand the camera to my co-pilot of 37 years, Miss Anna. Okay, my lovely co-pilot of 37 years. And so we're going to get started here. And then hopefully this is all going to work. All right. Okay, so always make sure the dog isn't under the car. Pulling out of the driveway. It's about 8 in the morning here, so you can see the day's just sort of getting started on the compound. You're looking at our hay fields. Our rabbits eat 10,000 pounds of hay a year, and so it's all we can do to grow enough hay to keep those rabbits fed. And then from the rabbit poo and the rabbit urine, we use that as the nutrient, the fertilizer for our crops. So we don't buy any chemicals in running our operation here. You can see is that Catherine in there sweeping, and the girls clean the laundry room, garage, office, shop on these days, on Mondays, which are the days that we go to town. Coming up to the entrance here. See if anybody's going to come out of there. I don't like to honk because I don't like to disturb.
Well, I don't want to holler from you.
You can see the rabbits over there.
Yeah, hold this.
No, that's okay.
Okay,
Oh, goodness. Okay,
there's Sophie.
Sophie is a military police officer, and so she lives on the compound this month. We have police officers that live on the compound 24/7, and then typically every month they swap them out, but they patrol at night. So she's getting ready to rest here. Thank you,
Sophie.
Sorry to disturb. Okay, exiting the compound. You got to be careful, the motorcycles go, but you can see this is really a unimproved road that we have here, and in the rainy season just getting up this hill can be a pretty big challenge. There's been times that we're pretty much stuck at home. We have 4-wheel drive, but we don't really have the aggressive tires, and so we really need to get some more aggressive tires for these muddy roads. And
It's nice it's not wet today.
yeah, it's not really wet today. It rained yesterday, but things have kind of dried up enough to where it's not slick this morning. Oh,
Yep, so you're going to have to back up, I think. These are neighbors.
they hello.
He's not honking at us, he's honking for the gate. For them to open his gate here. There you go.
Yeah, I hope that was a courtesy honk. I think I was nice to get out of his way, but they go around and there's things called jiggers, and they're like a tick, but instead of staying outside, they dig deep into the muscle. And so you get like a little bug, and the bug drills into your muscle, and then it grows the size of a tick. And they're very hard to get out of the feet. So what they do is they go around to the villages and they dig the jiggers out of the people's feet. There you got somebody over here. One of our neighbors is sweeping the dirt there. Some more neighbors up here to the left. You can see everyone's kind of getting their day started. You see things look very disorganized here, but really everything you're seeing is food. They've got coffee they're growing, bananas. Cassava is a root like a potato, but you'll get 30-40 pounds from the one bush. And then up front here you see chickens. People have chickens, and so it looks very disorganized. It looks very disorganized, but really everything that you're seeing has a purpose.
Morning.
Hello. Same thing over here, a lot of food over to the left in there. And it's multi-cropping, it's not...
It's just not banana
yeah,
trees.
it's not just bananas, it's a lot of things in there. Hello. Oh, Simon's wife, did you see
Oh,
that?
no, Jessica.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was on the left. Hi.
See the goats back there? So these people, I would say in this area, probably 90% of the people are unemployed. And those that are employed, oh, you see the little children are going
They're
to
going
hoe.
to mow their little garden.
Yeah, so the children work very hard here. 90% of the people are unemployed.
I'll try to reach. There you go. You're welcome.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Goodbye. Oh, here's a little bit of local children.
Thank
God
you.
bless.
God bless you.
Burundi, Macedonia.
Thank you for your blessing.
Thank you, Mama.
Oh, look at the little puppies.
Mhm.
It's a whole bunch of puppies.
I don't know what he was saying,
I don't know either.
but he was loud. He was loud.
People tie their cows up at night out front. It's just
Yeah.
graze.
When you're a sustenance farmer, you've got to keep Project A from eating Project B. And so to have goats, cows, chickens, and then be raising gardens as well, you've got to kind of be a little bit organized in that. Okay, we're coming up on the mosque here, and they have a borehole. And so you see the pump there. Everyone within a mile comes here to get their water. And water is very precious here. So imagine you don't have running water, you don't have electricity. All the water you use for the day, you've got to carry. You've got to wash your clothes, you've got to wash yourself, you have to wash your dishes, you have to wash your children. You have to use a lot of water, and all of that water you carry in 5-gallon jerry cans. Okay, so now we're getting kind of to the main road.
Can you see around me?
Yeah, I can. Look to the left, there's a truck.
No, there's a truck right there.
Okay.
And there's 4 motorcycles behind you. Good morning. How are you?
This is getting a little bit,
Okay, you're clear.
okay. This is getting a little bit busy here. Okay, so 90% of the people don't have jobs. They're just sustenance farmers. They just grow enough to not starve. They don't have electricity. They have to carry their water. They have to, people have cell phones, and you kind of buy time by the minutes. Everyone has a cell phone. Oh, we got an ambulance coming here.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's got a cell phone, but they have to go to a little charging station, and maybe they pay the person at the charging station. Maybe he's got a few solar panels. Maybe you pay 30 cents to get your phone charged. So people that don't have water and don't have electricity, they have cell phones. So you can see a lot of just little shanties here, and those are little shops. Now that one's not open yet.
It's a little early.
Yeah, it's a little early. But these are markets, like little independent business people. But the sustenance farmers we were showing you, they just make enough to kind of survive. And then the 10% of the people that do have a job, they would be doing very well at $3 a day. So a guy that would come and hoe your garden or do work for you, he would be doing very well if he got $3 a day. So most people don't have a job. Do you get that boat? We don't want to even ask what was in that box. And then over here you can see the shanties on the left again.
They're all little businesses. Everybody's a business person.
Well, yeah, so building our house and building our furniture, that guy would come with the chainsaw, he would cut the tree down, and then he would mill. Oh, okay, this guy's...
We're not going fast enough.
Well, that was not an angry
No,
toot. That was a courtesy toot. Hey, I'm passing you. You know, don't pull over. So we drive slower because number one, we just don't want to hurt someone. Like you see the people on the bicycles, the people on the bodas, the people that are just walking. You know, we don't want to hit someone, so we tend to drive very cautiously. Now, this is a taxi service here. And so Kampala is about 5 hours away, and if you caught a ride on that taxi, it would be probably $8 or $9 to get to Kampala. I would say maybe 5% of the people have transportation, like a motorcycle or a car. Everyone uses these motorcycles are called bodas. So if you need to go somewhere, you just flag down a boda. So these are our taxis. So you see like the lady, she's maybe going to work. And to go 5 miles on a boda, they would probably charge you $1. And so if a person is 5 miles from work, it costs them $1 to get to work, $1 to get home, and they make $3 a day.
Kids are going to school.
Yeah, the kids are going to school.
They wear uniforms.
So you make $3 a day, and it costs you $1 to get to work and $1 to get home. I don't know. There's a lot of people in the back of that truck. Is that like a...
Or maybe the men are going to help them go pick something up.
Yeah. You can't tell they use trucks like that as buses. So instead of sitting down in a van and the trip cost you... Instead of sitting in a van and the trip costs you 10,000 shillings, $3, say, you ride in the back of the truck standing up and it's $1. Now that truck driver might be going to Kampala to pick up a load of pineapples or something, and he doesn't get paid very much, so he's always selling fares on the side. So you see he's got a side hustle going with the truck that he's driving for someone else. And you'll see people riding on the top of trucks, you'll see people hanging on the bumper. Like the buses, you buy a ticket. If you buy a ticket on the bus, you get a seat. Well, then after the tickets are all sold, then the bus driver supplements his income by letting some more people on that are willing to just stand in the aisle or sit in the aisle. So
We're on top.
yeah, we're on top. And I don't mean this as a bad thing, but everybody's got to hustle, because you've got to have a side hustle if you're going to survive. You can see a huge propane tank on the back of that boda. So you see you need propane. You can send a boda to town. They'll go to town, pick up the tank, and bring it back to you. And really, I could have that done cheaper than me driving to town and paying for the diesel, because the boda is more efficient, you know, better mileage. We're very happy with our Hilux. It's a diesel. You can't get trucks like this in the United States, but it's a diesel. We get about 35 miles to the gallon on the highway, and it has plenty of power if you need to pass or whatever. Now here we got to be careful because this road drops off. And it would be very easy to end up in the ditch. And so you got to be careful passing people.
Those fumes are pretty strong.
Looks like we got someone broken down up here.
That's not good.
Then up ahead we have the Bane of Africa, which is the tuk-tuk, that little green taxi that is 3 wheels. And the problem is he's slow, underpowered, and he's wide. So he's an obstruction to traffic because the bodas are narrow, so it's easy to get past them. The tuk-tuks are wide and they're slow. You see the lady with the thing on her head?
Yeah, her
so
bag.
people carry things on their head.
Oh. I didn't have it grabbed you.
I slowed down. You never slow down. I mean, I go slow, but going up a slick hill, you don't want to lose your traction. You got to kind of keep moving.
That's why we need tires.
Yeah, we really got to get tires. It's got some furniture. So he had a passenger and a piece of furniture. I'll say this, but when I say it, we'll never see it, but 3 people on a boat, the driver and 2 passengers, that's quite normal. It's not unusual to see 5, the driver, and 4 passengers. It's not unusual to see the driver and 6 pigs, the driver and 100 chickens.
Yeah.
Also, you know, there's not, like, you cannot afford a hearse here or something like that. And so when people die, they just strap the casket to the back of the boda kind of horizontally. And that's how they get things done. And it's sad, but it's like you do what you have to. And we've had friends that tell us about a loved one that died while far away, and just the things that they did to get the loved one home. Maybe put him on a boda behind the driver, and that's not legal to do that, but put him behind the boda straddling, just like a normal passenger would, put the hands around the driver, and then kind of
Another guy sits behind him.
yeah, another guy sits behind him, and then the deceased is sort of held in place by the driver in the front and the other person behind. Or hear stories of people being wrapped up in like a carpet or something like that, and then put on the back of the boda. But, and I'm not saying this to make fun, it's just, it's a very, very hard life here,
Yeah.
and you do what you have to do. And you know, people are very innovative in their solutions.
Oh, the smoke's going over here. Breakfast just started.
Yeah, over on the left, you see things are getting opened up.
Oh, sorry, that was a speed bump.
So you see the lady's got a little restaurant there, and she's getting breakfast started for people. So here things are kind of starting to wake up. The little ladies are getting their food cooked.
Kids are getting up to school.
And then up here you see these umbrellas, and it says MTN available here. There's really not a functioning bank system, and so people can put money on the phone. So you go to the little lady under the umbrella and you give her your money, and then she can transfer that cash you gave her to digital money on your phone, and then you can use the digital money on your phone to send to someone else or to buy something. And so all of the economy here is based on the money on the phone. And then also, like if somebody sends you money, you can take your phone to that lady, and then she can take the digital money and she can turn it into cash for you. And so that's the way kind of banking is done here, is on the phone. But the little ladies or the little guys that have those little stands, they have a certain amount of cash in order to do business, and so unfortunately they're really targets for crime. And you know, those people will get killed for $10. You know, like at the end of the day, maybe they have their receipts and they leave, and they'll get killed for $10. Then over here to the left, if you look at that white one, it says
That's right.
the right, yeah,
I
the
think
king of vampires love cult. And so that's you don't want to mess with that place. There's really a lot of witch doctors here, and you know, the king of vampires love cult is not something you want to mess with at all. And
Is this our airport?
yeah,
Big
and
hangar.
the witch doctors really keep people in bondage around here, and it's just some really horrible and dark stuff that goes on. And I think as a Westerner, you just kind of think, well, it's a bunch of silly superstition, but it's really really some very serious dark things that are going on. So here we are at the airport. Checking on things. We got 10 satellites, so we're doing good. The other thing you got to do is never make a sharp move, because you can see the bodas are passing me on the right, passing me on the left. You'll see people coming the wrong way down the road. So the main thing is don't make any sudden moves. And you really got to have 360-degree cognizant of what's around you and what's coming up on you, because just anything is possible. So you've got to be hyper focused on the road.
There's a tuk-tuk.
So we're coming up on our shopping center. So this would be coming up where you would buy your groceries. So this would be kind of the place we would come to do our grocery shopping. And it's a little bit early, so it's not going to be as busy as it usually would be when we come through here. We're coming to town a little bit early today.
I don't even see delivered. There's one delivered.
So you can see over here to the left all those tarps. Let's see all the tarps.
Covered in wood.
So we want to really be careful, because you don't want to run into somebody coming over somebody's foot.
Or bump their motorcycle.
And so this looks probably like total chaos to you. And how could you come here to buy your food? But I would say this is going to be shocking. The food that you buy here is probably way healthier than the food from your pristine supermarket in the U.S. Everything is grown within probably 5 miles of this market. And, the beef that you would buy here would be, butchered this morning and fresh, and the cow spent its life eating green grass in the lane. And so everything is grass fed. Look over here. Things are hopping at the market today, huh? We're coming up to the roundabout. You go clockwise, unless you're a boda, then you go clockwise and counterclockwise. The people on the roundabout have the right of way. So there you see some 3 passengers. One lady's riding side saddle and the other is straddling, and that's kind of like some ride side saddle, some straddle. Okay, so
That's pretty simple.
we've got a military checkpoint up here. And so Anna's got to be careful not to point the camera at the soldiers, because they do not like having their picture taken. And in these situations, you never wave at the police officers or the soldiers because you got to watch them intently. And if they put their hand in the air, you pull over. Well, if you wave, like if Anna's nice and she waves at him, and if the soldier waves back, I don't know if he's waving or if he's telling me to stop. So you just don't, you know, you're not trying to be rude, but you don't wave. Then up here you can see the source of the Nile Bridge. This bridge is a magnificent bridge that's going to take us over the source of the Nile. We're coming up on another military checkpoint. I've got to change lanes. You can see stop, police checked. And I'm carefully watching. Okay. So you didn't see it, but the lady kind of waved me through, pointed at the guy behind me and pulled him over. So we didn't get pulled over. There was this one lady that every month when we drive to Sorority's about 4 hours away, the same lady on the bridge every single time we pull us over.
I'm trying to point towards Lake Victoria, the headwaters.
Get the bridge here. Showing the suspension bridge. Okay, we're coming up on another roundabout. And we'll come back over the bridge so you can see the other side. Diversion. So that guy kind of bullied his way in a little bit there.
Trying to get to work.
You see, there's a Boda with a mother with a little infant.
Oh, I can't point that way.
You can see these spikes. They're very serious here. Those road spikes. Okay, another checkpoint, and we made it through. Okay. Then to the left is a hydroelectric dam. Throw the soldiers over here. They won't see.
Well, I already.
Oh, it's too late.
I've already turned the camera.
The bodas are not allowed on the bridge, so they have to go over the dam. So now all that boda traffic over here is merging back onto the main road. So they're not allowed.
We have a separate. Just call it the old bridge.
That's the old bridge. This bridge they finished about 5 years ago, about the time that we got here. We're back to roundabout number 1, and we've got a pretty clear shot at it here. You see amber cord again to the left.
Now we'll head into town.
Yeah, so now we're heading into town. You can see things are already kind of hopping. And the guy that takes care of the trees on our compound, he's got a little business over to the left who he grows and sells seedlings. And he is quite a remarkable young man who has quite a business going. And he's really done a good job with our trees.
He's very knowledgeable.
You know, very knowledgeable. We saw 3 grown men on a boat. Okay, we'll turn off here. UDCL is the electric company. Yeah, they've replaced too many. Yeah.
There's a hotel they've never finished.
They've been working on this for 5 years, but what people do is they build in stages. As they get a little money, they'll make a little progress, get a little money, they'll make a little progress. Okay, I think our camera lady's hand is getting tired, so we're going to turn the camera off and we'll meet you guys back in the studio. Hopefully you got a little bit of a view of what our life is like here. We'll catch you back in the studio. And we're back from the road trip. How many of you guys got angry and bored and have better things to do than watch me drive around on pretty bad unimproved roads? But anyway, hopefully you guys weren't too bored with that and got a little picture of the area that I live in. But now what we want to do is we want to see if we have a nice sized and what looks suitable, log file. Are we able to log data on larger trips like that? So what I'm going to do is we're going to come over here, and then let's see if I can. What am I going to want to do? I'm going to want to come over here to Thani. And then what I'm going to want to do is connect to the Raspberry Pi Pico W. And then I want to look at that log file, and boom, look at that. It is a nice log file. And I had this set, remember, from last week to log about every 5 seconds, log a data point every 5 seconds. And that looks good. What I want to do is I just want to look at Google Earth, and I want to kind of look at the start point. Let's see here. I want to look at my start points. I got to open Thani up again. I accidentally closed Thani. And then let's open up Google Earth. Okay, on Thani, we'll want to try to open that log file again. Okay, there it is. And what did we say? It was like 255 points. So that would be 255 times 5 seconds. That's how long we were driving around. But let's get that first data point there, and this is lat, lon, and then let's come over to Google Earth and let me paste that in, and let's see what happens there. And boom, look at that. That is just dead on. So you see, here's the house. Here's the little carport where I park under there. And you can see that is dead on right where my truck started. Now let's go to the last data point. Okay, let's go to the last data point. And let me come back over to Thani and make sure that we're actually moving. So I'm going to get the last data point. Copy, okay, and then come back over to Google Earth, and then we're going to paste. Okay, and we're coming to town, and here's where we ended up on Main Street, and this guy had promised me a cat, so I actually went up to his shop. Let's see if we can look at the street view. I went up to the shop here, and the guy had promised me a cat. Where is this? Oh, we went too far. The guy right in there promised me a cat, but we went in there and he didn't have the cat. He says, oh, I can go get it, but then we didn't do it. So we weren't successful in getting a cat, but we were successful in logging our data. Okay, now you should now, if you've done the homework assignment, you should have a log file, and that log file should be on your, Pico W. Now what your homework assignment is, let's see if we can come over here. Remember we had that program to transfer the file? I'm trying to find that. Okay, yeah. Create a KML file. No, that's not it. Man, it's like, how come it's just showing one here? Okay, there it is. Logging GPS data on your Raspberry Pi Pico W. We've already done that one. And this is the one. Transfer the data log file from the Raspberry Pi Pico W to your desktop PC. So that was this simple program that ran out and got the data from the Pico W, okay, and put it in a log file on the PC. But what your homework assignment is next week, is to modify this program, and as you bring the file over to the desktop PC, I want you to convert the file to a KML file, like mypath.kml or myfabulousjourney.kml, so that when you bring the file over, you turn it into a KML file. Now, I'm going to help you by showing you what a KML file is, but don't panic, okay? You don't have to understand this stuff. If you want to, you can go in and pick up a few things that would allow you to like control the color or the thickness of the track that you're putting on Google Earth, or control what the marker is, the little waypoint marker that goes up. You can adjust those things, but for right now, let's just try to get a file that we can click on, and then it'll open up in Google Earth. So you're going to take this file and you're going to edit it so as you're bringing it over, it creates a KML file. Now the easiest thing is for me to show you what a KML file is, and so I need you to search on create a KML file to display your GPS data on Google Earth. Now if you look at this, let's go ahead and get this. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to bring that KML file over to Thonny, just because it will make it a little bit easier to read, because we've got nice big fonts here. And so let me do this. And when you look at this file, okay, when you look at this file, don't panic, all right? But it does look a little bit like, to me, it looks a little bit like HTML. And a lot of this stuff you don't have to worry about. What you worry about are two things, okay? Now this KML file that I'm showing you, it has two waypoints. It has two GPS data points, and that way you can kind of get the formatting understood, and then you could see what you would need to do to make this your log file. So we're going to come down. One thing I want you to see is it's like, okay, you have this open parentheses KML. Well, then down at the end, whatever you open, you have to close with the /KML. What's the next thing that was opened? Document. Well, if document is open, down at the bottom, you've got a close document. Here you can see that you're closing place mark. Well, you open the place mark here. So you see it's an exercise in opening and closing things. But what matters? What matters are two things. You come down here, and it is about line 32, and what you do is you say open the coordinates, and then how many coordinates did I have? 2. And then you what? Close the coordinates. Now, if we created this KML file using that road trip that we just had, we would have what? Like 250 coordinates. Now, this is very important. The format here is lon, comma, lat. Now, what have we been doing all the way up through here? And what you're always doing is lat, lon, lat, lon, lat, lon. But the KML file does not want lat, lon. It wants lon, comma, lat. Now, that's easy enough to switch those things, but you got to switch them or you're going to end up in the middle of the Sahara Desert or something like that. So what you've got to do is make sure that you write this as lon, comma, lat. Longitude, comma, latitude. And then on the next line, you have the next one. And then if I had 250 data points between this coordinates and end coordinates, I would put all of the points from my log file, making sure that I write them as lon, comma, lat. Does that make sense? Okay, so you could just kind of take all of this and then you would just need to put in your log file in the format of lon, comma, lat. All right, now there's one other place. What this does is this makes the line. This makes the line. And so you can see that we're saying, okay, we're going to make a place mark. What is the place mark going to be? We're going to call it name. And then this is just what type of place mark is it? It's going to be a line. Okay, and then we start our line string here, and then this tessellate one, what that just means, I'm really not sure what that means. I think it's like how curved the line is or something like that. And then the altitude mode, we clamp to ground, and what that means is we keep our position right on the ground so we don't like go up in the air or go down. Whatever, you know, if you had reported elevation, you're going to ignore it and you're just going to have your track right on the surface of the earth. Okay, and that ends, and now we are going to what? We are going to give it our coordinates, and then these are our coordinates, and then we close the coordinates, we close the line, we close the place mark, and then we close the whole document and we close the whole KML. Now, if that's all we did, what would we have? We would have a line between only 2 points. If we had 100 points, we would have a path, a line that goes through all 100 of those points. But there's one other place. This puts the line. Now what you need to do is you need to put the little dots where you actually log the data. So you come up to the top and you can see, okay, we start the KML, we start the document. Now what are we going to name this? We're going to say the path from the Pico is going to be the name. Okay, now the style is going to be, instead of line style, it's going to be point style. Now, what kind of little icon do we want? Well, this is just one that works here. I think it's like a placemark circle.png. There's probably different ones you can use, but that'll just put a circle each place you went. We want to use a scale factor of 1 on the dot. That's the right size. Now we close our icon style. We close our style, and now we're going to do a style for the line style. And that's going to allow us to kind of put a color on it. You can play around with these colors. This is like hexadecimal color. Then we end style. Now, this is where it is going to get important. We're going to open a place mark. Okay, we are going to have a style URL. Don't worry about that. And then what we're having is multi-geometry, meaning that this place mark is going to have lots of different points. It's going to be a multi-geometry. Now what we're going to do is we're going to open our individual point, and we're going to open our coordinate, and then we are going to give it our first point in lon, comma, lat. Lon, comma, lat. Now we have to close the coordinate and we have to close the point. Now we open the next point, we open the next coordinate, and we put in lon, comma, lat for the next point. Close the coordinate and close the point, and then close the multi-geometry and close the place mark. okay? But what is it that you will need to do? You'll need to take this file, and between here and here, you'll have to put all of your data, lon, comma, lat. And then what are you going to do up here? It's not so easy. After multi-geometry, you're going to have to say point coordinate your data. Close coordinate, close point. Point coordinate data. Close coordinate, close point. So you're going to have something before your data point, every data point, and you're going to have something after every data point. Before every data point, the data point, and after every data point. And then once you have your last point in, then you come down with the rest of the file. Now this might seem crazy impossible, but really, what is this? This is like just a bunch of strings, right? What could I do? I could take this whole thing and I could make that whole thing from there to there a string. And I would open my KML file, and the first thing I would do is just write this whole thing as a string. Okay, then what do I need to do? I need to write this string, I need to write this string, I need to write this string. 3 strings for every data point in your log file. Okay, and then when you have all of that done, then you can close your coordinates and points, and then you need to come down here. All of this could be one string. All this could be one string that you write to your file. And then what you would write to your KML file is just all of your data. And then you would write to your KML file that closing string. So it's like really 3 great big strings, and then in the middle, in between those 3 great big strings, are your data and your data. Okay, it's really not hard to do. So that is your homework assignment for next week. And then what I'll do is I'll kind of show you next week my program. Okay, guys, I hope I didn't bother you or annoy you with my road trip today, but hey, I think it's kind of neat around here and thought you guys might be interested in what it looks like when I drive to town. Okay, guys, I hope you're having as much fun with this as I am. It's at this point, I always give a big shout out to my Patreons. I would not be able to continue to produce quality, in-depth content every single week without the financial support of my Patreons. Thank you, guys. You can help this video by leaving a comment down below and giving it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. When you do, make sure you ring that bell so you get notification when future lessons drop. And most importantly, share this video with other people, because the world needs more people who know where they're going and fewer people sitting around watching silly cat videos. Paul McWhorter with TopTechBoy.com. I will talk to you guys later.